The day of pure suffering, of extreme torture, a day that I do not look forward to, and a day that has a lot of pain has come finally, and that is leg day. It's a day that women seem to enjoy. Um, I do not. I don't see the point of why people are so pumped about leg day. But I do train hard. I do see to it that I can get a good session in. And I think that goes to a great extent with regards to life. You can kind of like extrapolate that where I don't like leg day, but I do want big legs. That's the point. So, well, you want something, you have to work for it. You don't want to work for it, you have to. You just better do that, right? That's what I think the gym is teaching us. Enough self-help nonsense. Okay, let me get to it. What I'm doing here is squatting, and I am squatting in order to prime my body, pump blood to my quadriceps, which is what I'm training here. I'm going to be training. I've already started training them, but I'm also doing some butt kicks in order to get the blood flowing, feel good about myself. No, well, yeah, sure. You can feel good about yourself, I guess, by doing these things because one can say that this releases a lot of dopamine, a lot of oxytocin, and all those, pleasurable hormones in your body, and it makes you feel good. So there is an element of truth to that, right? One can't dismiss it. So I did some toe touches there for my hamstrings. I don't know what this exercise is particularly called. If you do, please let me know in the comment section down below. But it's for the hamstrings. I saw Obi Vincent, who is a fantastic lifter and looks like an absolute maniac, monstrous maniac, right? Do it, and I think that is absolutely a fantastic hamstring opener, right? Hamstring opener. I don't know. It's a dynamic hamstring stretch at the end of the day, and it's like you touch it, you touch your toes, and you do it. All of these have fancy names. I don't want to be a guy who comes up with all these fancy verbiage, okay, and that just essentially confuses people rather than gives them a simplified information of what needs to be done. Here I'm doing Smith machine back squats, right? Smith machine hack squats is what you could say because my legs are a little further in the front than what they would normally be. Why am I doing a Smith machine squat? Well, because I train generally for size. If you're doing a free weight barbell squat, then there are a lot of stabilizer muscles that come into the picture. And these stabilizer muscles are going to, well, at the end of the day, they're going to take away from the actual muscle building process to a certain extent. This does not mean that you should not do squats. If you want to do free weight squats, please do so. You can build massive legs with free weight squats. This is to a certain extent easier as well. And maybe I can, to a certain extent, stand corrected in the sense that the stabilizer muscles don't contribute to the muscle building process. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, maybe indirectly they do. I think they indirectly do in the sense that they allow the actual muscles to kind of fire later on. They indirectly do. I'll figure out how they indirectly do. I'll some research on that and get back to you. But right now, a Smith machine gives you greater stability, which means that you don't have to think about balance. You don't have to think about any of that and just go for it. I did a couple of, warm-up sets, as you can see, from different angles. I took those things. I'm again doing another warm-up set here. I think I'm doing like, I don't know, this is another warm-up set, yes. So I do a lot of warming up, but before I do a warming up, let me just talk about the rectus femoris, the vastus medialis, the vastus lateralis, and vastus intermedius. These are the four muscles that we have on our quads. At least from a muscle building standpoint, these are the quads, i.e., in quadriceps, right? The four muscles that we want to hit. The lateralis is essentially the outer thigh, outer quad, you can call it. The inner quad is the medialis. The femoris is in between, and the intermedius is behind the femoris, if I'm not mistaken. Any doctor watching this can please correct me if I'm wrong. Again, till now, these have all been warm-up sets. This is my actual set that I'm working on. Why am I doing so many warm-up sets? Personally, I prefer warming up and activating my muscles to such an extent. It allows me, and it has experientially, I might say this, and this clients have also seen this, is that you might think that doing so many warm-up sets might actually fatigue you, but it's the exact opposite that happens. It allows you to push harder and lift heavier during your working set. So this is my first working set. It is hard. I'm breathing in and holding my breath as I go down. And while I come up, I am crying, as you can see. It is something that is, I guess, you have to do if you want to build your quads. Your legs are this, which is the reason why people don't like training legs. They are big. They are extremely difficult to train. You have to go very hard on them, especially if you've been training for 3, 4 years, in order to elicit quite a lot of, I would say, damage, mechanical tension, all the mechanical tension, metabolic stress, muscular damage, all of these things that are the primary reasons for why you grow, right? Mechanical tension being the highest. So mechanical tension is nothing but the amount of force that your muscles produce. So the greater the force you can elicit from your muscles, the greater the mechanical tension. And the greater the mechanical tension, there will be a greater hypertrophic response, which means that your muscles are essentially going to grow. And there are two kinds of hypertrophy that happen. One is known as myofibrillar hypertrophy, the other is called sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. What is myofibrillar and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy? I will take that up in following sessions and give you an understanding of what actually happens. I will go into the science of it, but I will simplify the science of it. It might be a little inaccurate, but you get the idea. I don't want to overload you guys with too much of scientific information that is not actionable, okay, at a gym level, right? So this is, I think, my penultimate set. I did a drop set. So I removed the weight, as you can see from before, and I went for a few more reps. These are all intensity techniques that you can use once you are, well, intermediate, maybe an advanced lifter. I'm still a very intermediate lifter, still have a long way to go, still trying to figure things out. And I think it's at this point of time where taking videos like this is helping me hone my skills. It's helping me actually push harder and get better in my lifting journey. So there is a reason why I am doing this to a certain extent, even for myself. But please do subscribe, please do like my channel, and see if you like this content. Right, I have a lot many more ideas to put out, so that I can get a better camera, I can get some better lighting. That would be really useful. Thank you very much. So this is the last set that I did. It was brutal, to say the least. I did add some extra weight. What you're seeing in this, I did some extra weight when I had previously, uh, you know, done my, what is it called? My barbell Smith machine. And here are leg extensions. So what I did is that I put the leg extension machine, okay, to the very last setting, and I am getting used to the movement again here. You don't have to again get used to the movement because I've already done quite a bit and my quads are pretty much primed. And but I just kind of like doing it that way. And I don't think that it is going to lead to overtraining or any kind of fatigue. I can handle it. Anyways, uh, leg extension is a good isolation movement. The exact scientific name for it is, well, essentially, it's a knee extension machine, right? So the movement that it actually does is knee extension. So this is where you can actually think about all exercises in terms of movement patterns, right? So if you look at, okay, elbow extension, right? That's the primary function of your biceps, while elbow extension, right, is the primary focus of your triceps. I'll have another video in which I talk about all of these things in greater detail. Please do keep watching and subscribe for it. I've already asked you guys to subscribe twice, and I feel a little crazy. Anyways, sissy squat. A sissy squat is what I did. That trains the rectus femoris. Okay, a sissy squat is the only exercise that actually trains the rectus femoris in the lengthened position, right? So it's something that is really, really useful for knee health, for all kinds of jogging, for walking, for everything. That's from a functional standpoint. But at the end of the day, rectus, it's a sissy squat is really good. Please do that exercise because people don't actually strengthen the rectus femoris. It's also a good exercise from a balance perspective and standpoint, right? So doing a leg extension followed by a sissy squat is a good combination, I think. And do try that out. It's a pretty intense thing. I tried it with one of my clients. I'm sorry, I had to cough. I tried it with one of my clients, and he loved it. I have to say that he really liked it. Especially when you go. very close to the ground. Your knees go very close to the ground, but you don't touch it. You are really lengthening your rectus femoris and you're really strengthening your knees, right? If you can do that, then probably you can say bye bye to knee pain for a very long time. Now comes another leg extension trick, okay, that I want to talk to you about. Here is an important thing here. I have done leg extensions before in the previous video. I've also done hamstring curls. It's going to be a little repetitive, which I think is the whole point of lifting. A lot of social media makes lifting very fun and jazzy, but the reality is that it's going close to failure and seeing to it that you do it this consistently over a long period of time. Now, coming to the trick of the leg extension that I'm talking about is that I am well arching a little and going a little back when I sit down, so that the pad is at the mid shin level, right? So it's about at the mid shin level, and this gives a better contraction, right? And it allows you to actually lift heavier weights. So heavier weights again translates to a little more tension on the muscle, which means that it's greater mechanical tension, right? So this process of increasing your weight is known as progressive overload. Now, people say that progressive overload causes muscle growth. Uh, I am not sure if that's the case or if muscle growth causes progressive overload, in the sense that if you're able to lift heavier, uh, it's because you built more muscle. So, in other words, a bigger weight, a bigger muscle moves is a stronger muscle. So, a bigger muscle moves a bigger weight. So, if you're able to move a bigger weight, you can be rest assured, you can tick the box, you can say, yes, I have built muscle. So, you're progressively overloading to check your result, not to as a causal driver. So it's not it's there. People can kind of I think reverse the causality in the sense that basketball doesn't really make you tall. Being tall gives you an advantage for playing basketball. That's the cause reversality. Okay, that's a reversal of causality. Okay, that people need to kind of understand here. Okay, it's the same thing with progressive overload in building muscle. This is a leg adduction machine. Adduction again is when you bring your muscles closer to your body. Abduction is when you move it apart, when you move away from it, right? So that's the difference between adduction and abduction. So shoulder adduction means you're bringing your shoulder to your body, while abduction is when you're moving it away. So as you can see here, I'm bringing my hips and my thighs closer, okay, to my body. So that's adduction. This is important for your inner thigh, which carries over to a deeper squat, which means better legs. So for guys out there who don't want okay to build big legs, it's fine. I want monstrous legs, right? I want really big legs, tree trunk legs. So I do these exercises because they have a big carryover to my squat. And I've just started programming these in because I've been not been able to actually get a little, I would say, heavier on my squats. So again, if I've not been able to get heavier on my squats, it means I've not built muscle. That's the point. If I'm able to, then it means I've built muscle. So the reason why again you're trying to go heavier is to see and check if you've built muscle. That's the whole point here. Anyways, adduction, abduction, done. Uh, so that's that. Now what I'm doing here is, if you can see, there's a change of attire. What I'm doing, what is called knee flexion, as I had previously mentioned. So this is a hamstring curl, leg curl for the hamstrings, that is. I've again done this before. There is going to be monotony involved, as I said, just mentioning it again. That's what hard training is. It's just doing this unsexy thing over and over again for a long period of time. Again, a lesson that you can learn from this is that if you just do that small things compounded over a long period of time, you probably will be able to get where you want to get. And I wish you all the best for that. Now, coming back to leg curls, what I think a lot of people disregard, okay, when it comes to leg training, if at all, at least guys, if they do leg training, and then there are a good deal of guys who do want to build good legs, right? So don't neglect legs, guys. If you have a very good upper body and you don't do a leg day, your body is not going to look proportionate, and that's just not going to look very aesthetic. So don't neglect legs. It's actually also good for, well, people say it's good for boosting testosterone, but one has to understand that to what extent does testosterone boosting really help you is also another question, because does it really help you to a great extent? Maybe, sure. But if you already are pretty, if you're sleeping right first, okay, if you really want your T levels in check, sleep properly. But anyways, coming back to this aspect of training, which is leg knee flexion, people don't train the hamstrings a lot, which they should. And training the hamstrings is going to see to it that your knees are also in peak health. Anyways, this is the last set that I am going to be doing for my hamstrings. What we want to talk about with regards to lifting that I see a lot of people not get right in the gym, right? I think figuring out what your goals are in terms of clarity, right? So I had done a Smith machine squat, right? But I did not do a barbell free weight squat. If somebody asked me why, I would give them this reasoning that I'm training for size. I want to take balance out of the equation. I want to take not too much stabilizer muscles out of the equation. So I just want to, there will still be a certain amount of stabilizer muscles in the picture when I'm doing Smith machine squats, but I kind of want to go all in, okay, to do what might be an Unga Bonga lift, which is a no thinker lift. So the machine is doing the balancing and I'm just doing whatever I can to, just go all out on it, right? I have that clarity. So figure out your goals and have a certain level of clarity when it comes to lifting and see to it that you have a program that is built for that kind of level of clarity, right, so that you can reach those results in the right manner. Otherwise, I see a lot of people come to the gym, they don't really have a proper goal in mind. It's okay to not completely have a goal in mind. Ask around, figure out what you want, do some research, and then be like, okay, this seems to be the kind of goal that I want, right? What is hypertrophy lifting? What is lifting for size? What is lifting for strength? What is lifting for endurance, for athletic performance, right? These are the kind of things that you want to kind of like look at. Think of it in terms of classification. So think like, for example, ask yourself a question: what are the pillars of fitness, right? If I were to ask that question, it would be strength, endurance, size, mobility, flexibility. These are the five ones, right? Do I want to optimize each one? Do I really want to specialize in one? Ask yourself these kind of questions. There's a lot of research on the net. Do a little bit of it, or you can get yourself a coach, right? And the coach will kind of like, give you the right way to go about depending upon where your goals are. It'll save you a lot of time. It'll save you a lot of running around, not knowing what to do. And time is kind of money. So in that sense, you're actually benefiting from getting a coach, right? So do that. Hire someone who knows these things, who's been there, who's been in the trenches, who's understood uh, their body type, who's understood how to kind of like program intelligently and in a smart manner. So what I'm doing here is a Romanian deadlift. The Romanian deadlift is again for the hamstrings. So I did kind of like, I think for my squats I did about 8 sets, 8 to 9 sets, I remember that. I had done about 4 sets for my hamstrings, right? In my leg curls. This I did, I think, about 3 sets. I think I only filmed two, but I did 3 sets because I was just really fatigued at the end of the day when I was doing this. I also had another client session that I had to take after this, so it was a pretty brutal day. But it's fun, kind of having these brutally fun days is probably fun. I sound like a masochist, but I'm not one, I assure you, right? So it is rewarding. It is rewarding to do that. A little bit about the cues when it comes to lifting this is this, very simply put, is that you want to do a hip hinge movement here. So when you do a hip hinge movement, you go down and yeah, you see me coming up. I'm doing a bit of a glute. I'm clenching my glutes, so it also builds your glutes to a certain extent, right? As well as your spinal erectors, so your lower back as well, right? You can do this with a barbell and with a dumbbell. Barbell is just going to be very fatigue inducing. As a beginner, I would suggest you do this. I am not a beginner. I am again a very, very intermediate lifter, and I'm still doing this. I did do barbell RDLs. Sometime later, I might probably do that. That's it for today's session, guys. Next is going to be a push day. Stay tuned. I want to talk about shoulders and chest.